Berkshire trying to get to the outside, cannot. Tampa Bay sniffed it out with Tyke Smith
from 10-yard line. Daniels swing it out to Robinson. Brian Robinson hit hard, only 2 yards. Levante David able to get nothing going. His longest run tonight, 6 yards. They put it in the hands of Turpin. Was the longest run tonight. He gets tagged.
What a night this is.
Tyke Smith, the rookie out of Georgia.
Really tip your hat to the job
Check 1 2.
they've been able to do.
See if all this is working. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay.
Tyke Smith makes the play on Bowers.
With their personalities.
Against this wounded Bucs defense. O'Connell's pass.
Yeah, it's working. What up, Amber? How's it been going, man? It's long. Yeah, you're right. Long time no see. It's been a cool minute. It's been a cool minute. It's definitely been a minute. Playback for a game is good. Playback for game is good.
Is intercepted.
Tyke
Smith. Back in the lineup today is the rookie.
So there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was pretty much done.
When we hit that first 1 million in sales in our first year of business.
Up. I was pretty much done with the YouTube. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I was pretty much done with the YouTube, but I've been around in the YouTube streets. Let's just put it like that. I've been around in the YouTube streets, and man, there is some horrible football takes out there, horrible football talking out there. And I mean, I've been banned on a few channels already. But there's a lot of things that's just, and let me say this as well. Maybe you can enlighten me, Amber. Maybe you can enlighten me, but there's not a lot of like Buccaneers channels out there, to be honest, because I'm seeing Panthers, I'm seeing Saints, I'm seeing Falcons, I'm seeing all these different channels of these teams, you know, with all these fan bases talking and, you know, talking together and stuff. And I'm like, where's the Buccaneers circle? You know what I'm saying? Where's the Buccaneer circle? Every Buccaneer channel is like just a guy talking, which is why I put, let me know if you guys can't see it, but I put the link up. It's pinned. The link should be pinned. So anybody can jump in here and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know, the last time I was on here, I was trying to do that. And so can I exit this out? Oh no, I can't. So yeah, anybody that wants to jump in here can jump in here and give their opinion and talk. You know, I've been trying to do this for a minute, but I noticed there's a lot of things that I'm noticing on these YouTube streets, man. And to be honest, it's been a couple days starting with this weekend that just passed where I was like, man, I kind of want to go live. I kind of want to talk to my peoples. And then I get home and, you know, I go to the gym and everything. I've been working out and stuff. And then I get home and I'm like, I just want to take a shower and eat and go to bed or just jump on the game or whatever. So then I don't do it. But then today I got out of work pretty early because, you know, weather. So work was like short, super short. Went to the gym, did what I had to do. And, you know, not ready to cook and eat yet because it's still too early. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm like washing clothes and I'm like, what am I gonna do? What should I do? And so I'm like, you know what, let me jump in here and let's see where everybody at, what's everybody doing. So I said, you know what, let me go live and do all that. So we got a lot to talk about. The draft, we got the Bucks itself, the season, how the schedule. We got a lot that we can talk about, and we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Jump in the chat. I mean, jump in the live stream and talk about it. I've been grinding on Twitch with gaming, and I have a few people who are fans with in the division that wants to football chats. All right, that's what's up. Put me. What's your Twitch? What's your Twitch so I can sub to your Twitch? That's what's up. Keep grinding. But I've ran into a lot of people in the division. So I really got a lot to say about the people in our division, man. I got a lot to talk about when it comes to them. But maybe we'll get some of them people to come in here and talk. I mean, there are some Panther fans that just really need to be schooled. There's a couple of Falcon fans that really need to be schooled. Yeah, there's Saint fans. Saint fans are kind of, they're just trying to survive, man. They really don't want to come out. They're just trying to survive, and they're trying hard to be, happy about their team. So, it is what it is. I understand. But there seems to be Falcons have been here the last 2 years where they seem to be thinking that they're on the same level as the Bucks. And ever since last year, the ending of last year, all of a sudden the Panthers for some reason are starting to feel like that too. So there's a lot of things we got to talk about when it comes to them. Penny Traits Hun. All right, let me look that up real quick. Let's see. Shout out to Amber Lowe. Let me look that up so I can sub up real quick, and then we can continue. Underscore traits. There she is. Ooh. Dope profile pic. 222 followers. You're doing the thing, man. You're doing the thing. That's what's up. So I got you. Am I subscribed or no? I have to pay to subscribe. Okay. So I got you followed. So I'm definitely following you. Homeboy, homebody. That's my channel on Twitch. So shout out to Amber Lowe. I got you. My ex-coworker is a Saint fan and just started, and he is keeping quiet. Yeah. I can. I can. I thought it didn't let me, but I guess so. Let's see. Michael Williams in the building. I don't have my soundboard set up. Do I? No, I don't have my soundboard set up. Maybe I'll do that in another time. I don't have nothing set up. I had to redo my computer and everything, like reboot it, wipe out everything. As you can see, I don't have my background like I used to. I don't have none of that. We just going straight up, old school. Honestly, Atlanta might win this division. They swept y'all and had a bottom of the NFL defense. Their defense will be top 15. I imagine they might win it. Yes, the Falcons are on the same level, 0-2. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's nobody on our level right now. I'll make it very easy for you, Michael. There's nobody on the Bucks level right now in the division. Not even close. If you remember last year, right? If you remember last year, I came on here and I said, I think that the Falcons, when the Falcons got Kirk Cousins, I said I think the Falcons might have the division. The Falcons might have the division. Then the draft came, and I said, you know what? I think the Bucks have the division again, but it's going to be tough. It's between the Bucks and the Falcons. And then right before the season started, I said, I think the Bucks are going to have this division because, again, you start learning, you start seeing things, and you start learning more and more about the teams. I said, I think the Bucks are going to win the division by a couple games, to be honest with you. And if it wasn't for us losing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for 4 games, Chris Godwin for the rest of the season, but Mike Evans for 4 games, that definitely would have happened. So this isn't a channel where I'm gonna sit here and just lie or try to pump up because the Bucks are my team. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna let you know who has a chance, who doesn't have a chance, all that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you've been around, you know I'm gonna be real. And believe me when I tell you, nobody in the NFC South has a chance. It's just the Bucks. This year, it's just the Bucks. Nobody has a chance. Trust me. If you don't want to believe me, you don't have to. You'll find out. You can follow bet. Thanks. Watson and Vea is going to be Great Wall of Tampa. Rashad in the building. What it do? We back in this thing, man. You already know. You know what time it is, man. Too many bad podcasters, man. Too many bad live streamers. I had to come in here and do my thing, man, because it is crazy in these YouTube streets, man. People are talking crazy in these YouTube streets. I mean, this guy I think is a Falcon fan right here, Michael. I don't know if Cousin didn't get hurt and lie about the injury, they don't lose six games straight. Maybe they don't lose 6 games straight. You might be right about that. You might be right about that. But again, I think the problem that you're having is you guys are not the only ones that had a problem. Yeah, Kirk Cousins got injured. So did Mike Evans and so did Chris Godwin. That's the only reason why it was close at the end. So you got injury. You had an injury situation with one person. We had an injury situation too with 2 people. So it's the same thing. Again, Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt, then you might not go on a 6-game losing streak. But if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin don't get hurt, we probably don't go on a 4-game losing streak. So, like I said, I think it still ends up the same way. The problem with the rest of the South is exactly that, though. They always look at their problems. Oh, if this gets fixed, we'll be better because this was a big problem for us. But they never look at the Bucks and said, well, what was the problem for you guys? They do this year in and year out, right? First it was, oh, you got Tom Brady, but now we got this. You got Tom Brady and you barely won the division. And I'm like, yeah, but ask us what our problem was that year and why it was still amazing that we still won first place in the division. Because we had Tom Brady, but he lost his arm. We had a quarterback that didn't have an arm anymore. Then we got Tom Brady's done. Then we get Baker Mayfield, and they're like, oh, well, you guys barely won the division with Baker Mayfield. We're going to win it next year. And ask us what the problem was. Yeah, we had Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield didn't do the thing. And, you know, to be honest, I really don't remember what the problem was that first year with Baker Mayfield. Let's see, the problem was Dave Canellis. That was the problem. We have Dave Canellis, who was a first-time play caller, and he struggled in the middle of the season. He started struggling with his play calling, and our O-line had a problem with running the ball and stuff like that. That was the problem. And I called that before the season even happened. I had 5 reasons why we could struggle this year, and I called it. And we had to go through that. And Baker couldn't really throw to anybody but Mike Evans. But they didn't want to hear that. And then the next year, which was, I believe, last year, what did you say? Cousins got hurt, blah, blah, blah. Well, ask us about our problem. Well, our problem was Mike Evans and Chris Godwin got hurt. And not only that, I mean, the amount of injuries we had in our secondary was crazy. We don't even got to talk about that. But, I mean, we're going to talk about that because we're going to talk about the draft and everything. But that's fair enough. I can accept that but you're crazy if you don't think Atlanta is going to compete with the Bucks. Nobody else in the division matters. No, you're not. You're not going to compete with us. We're on a different level right now. We have a different goal than you guys. You guys are hoping that you guys can compete. You don't even know if you can compete. You're hoping that you can compete. You have no idea what you have in almost said Bryce Young in Penix. You have no idea what you have in Penix. Anyways, let's get off of that. Let's talk about the Bucks. Let's start with the draft class, right? So the last time you saw me go live, we had a draft class. I wasn't happy about the first rounder because I really was salivating for one of them defensive ends. And we ended up with Mbuki, however you say his name, the wide receiver. And then after that, we got the 2 corners, which to be honest, I was kind of like, when I saw the corners, I was like, they're kind of dope. I'm kind of happy with that. And then We got 2 defensive ends, which one of them's kind of like tweener defensive end / like kind of defensive tackle, which I was kind of like on that guy, but the David Walker, I was like, yo, he's dope. And who do we get after that? Then we got Tez, I believe. Tez and I think somebody else. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Am I missing somebody? I think that might be it. We got 1, 2, 2, and 6. Yeah, so I think that's it because I think we missed 1 round. So I think that's all we drafted. But yeah, so I wasn't like ecstatic because I was really like, I always felt like the first and second round are where you can get premier talent, right? Well, obviously you could get premier talent no matter what part of the draft you pick, right? But I feel like the percent chances of you hitting on like a blue chip player, right? Obviously it goes down as the round goes, as you go down in the rounds. So I really was hoping like, man, we just don't play around and pick a defensive end in that first round, if not early in the second round or, whenever in the second round, which we didn't. But we picked who we picked. Now, after the draft, I kind of slept on it or whatever, and I understood the assignment. I understood what Jason Licht was doing. And to be honest, after I got all that together and I realized the roster that we already have and all that stuff, I kind of looked back and I was like, this is kind of what we needed to do. It kind of was what we needed to do. The way I was thinking was more fan. It was more fan. Ibuka, Morris, Parrish, Walker, Roberts, and Johnson. Yeah, so those were the guys. The way I was thinking was more fan, right? It was more fan. And the way Jason Licht was thinking was completely the right way to think. It was completely the right way to think. It was one of the first times in a long time where me and Jason Licht weren't thinking the same thought at all. And I have to say, Jason was in the right. I was in the wrong. Jason was in the right. And the draft was actually perfect for us. And what that draft was basically saying what happened last year is not going to happen again this year. Plain and simple. What happened last year will not affect us this year. What happened last year was the tale of depth. Period. The tale of depth. Some of it wasn't our fault. Some of it, because again, I always say, a team is good, but your team needs to have depth. But there's a certain amount of depth that happens to be not your fault, right? What happened to us in the secondary, that's not our fault, bro. Like, come on. Every safety we had went down. Every safety we had went down. And 2 safeties that we brought in, those safeties went down. Like, that's not our fault. But that's beyond depth. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to be prepared for that. That's you there's no way. No one prepares for depth that much, right? In the DB room. So stuff like that, I understand, and nothing we can do about it. But we ended up getting depth at corner. We ended up getting depth at wide receiver. We ended up getting depth at defensive line. Whether you talk about Roberts or you talk about Walker, right? We ended up getting depth there. So it was really good depth. And the thing is, whether you talk about Morrison, whether you talk about Parrish, whether you talk about Roberts, or whether you talk about Walker, all those 4 guys, even especially Ibuka, all those guys are for sure have a good chance of exploding, have a good chance of popping. That's the best way I can say it. Have a good chance of popping, right? Being one of them players who are like, whoa, So let's talk about Ibuka, right? Let's talk about Ibuka first, right? We've got a wide receiver. If you watch people who were breaking down tape of wide receivers, there was questions about the guy that the Panthers took, right? Who was the first wide receiver off the board. There's questions about Golden, whoever his name is. I think he was the third wide receiver taken off the board. Yes, because we took the second and he was the third. The dude that went to Green Bay. There was questions about him. There was no questions about Ibuka. Period. Everybody that broke him down, there was no questions about Ibuka. The only question is, can he be that type of player? You know what I'm saying? Can he be that type of player? What you saw on tape, everybody's like, you're going to get that in the NFL. Like he is as much of a certain, like, that's what you're going to get. Like that's going to translate into the NFL as you can get. The only question about him was, will he elevate? Will he be one of them players in the NFL that elevates and like becomes like a superstar? That it's potential, but more than likely he's going to be this, right? The guy that the Panthers got is more like he's supposed to be a superstar in the NFL, but will he? We don't know because of different traits, and he's so raw and things that he has to work on. Same thing with Golden, right? But I think a lot of people liked Golden a lot better than they liked the dude that the Panthers picked. Anyways, I wanted to break this down because I see a lot of people misleading about our wide receiver situation, right? A lot of people are misleading when it comes to how we view Ibuka, how we view McMillan, how we view Chris Godwin, because they're the same but different. So please allow me to break it down. And again, anybody who wants to come in here, whether you want to debate, whether you want to talk about something else, whatever, just click on the link. The link should be pinned at the top of the chat. So just click on the link, come in, give your opinion, whatever you want to do. Mike Evans is a pure number one wide receiver. Pure number one wide receiver, right? He plays the outside. He can play the slot, but he is a number one wide receiver, right? And not only is he a number one wide receiver, but he's a Batman. He's a Batman wide receiver. Batmans are people that can take over a game. Batmans are people who the other team has to game plan against, and they get game planned against, and they still are able to take over the game because they're that good. Mostly when people say, oh, he's the Robin, he's the Batman, they're usually talking about he's number one, he's number two, number one wide receiver, number two wide receiver, which makes sense, but that's not how I'm using it. I'm saying he's the Batman because they game plan against him, and he's still the guy that we run our offense through. Other team game plans to stop him and slow him down, and he still does his thing. That's what I mean by Batman. But he's a Batman on the outside, right? Chris Godwin is a special wide receiver. And I argue with Buck fans a lot because a lot of Buck fans seem to believe that Chris Godwin is a slot wide receiver. He's not a slot wide receiver. He is a receiver that can play the outside, and he can also play the slot. Why Chris Godwin is so special is because he can be a Batman on the outside. He can also be a Batman in the slot, in the inside. This is why Chris Godwin is so special. This is why in the middle of his years, I always said I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Godwin ends up better than Mike Evans. Now, you ask me now, I don't think he could be better than Mike Evans because Mike Evans has elevated his game so much since Chris Godwin got there. But that first and second year of Chris Godwin, I was like, I don't know, but Chris Godwin's already like this. In his prime, Chris Godwin might end up better than Mike Evans. Now, I don't think he will end up better than Mike Evans. But again, the point is Chris Godwin is able to eat and be a Batman on the outside. He is also able to eat and be a Batman in the slot as well. That's why he's special. With Jameis Winston, he was eating on the outside. With Tom Brady, he was eating on the outside and on the inside. Now, Tom Brady liked him on the inside a lot, so he played a lot in the inside, and that's where this whole thing where people thought, oh, he's a slot. As soon as we put him in the slot, blah, 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 blah. No. Brady loved him, and Brady was throwing to him a lot more than Evans, and Brady wanted him in the slot, and that's how he, started eating in the slot, whatever. But he can eat. The point is, he can do both. He's not a slot receiver. He is an outside receiver that can play just as lethal in the slot as he can in the outside. Jalen McMillan is like Chris Godwin. Ibuka is like Chris Godwin. Here's the difference between those two. Jalen McMillan is an outside receiver who can play slot receiver at the same time. He can do both, just like Chris Godwin. My opinion on McMillan right now, because obviously he can grow and be better, but my opinion on McMillan right now is he can play the outside and the inside just like Chris Godwin, but he's only a Robin. I don't think he can be a Batman on the outside. I don't think he can be a Batman in the inside. Now, I could be wrong. And again, there's nothing wrong with being Robin. You need Robins on your team. There's nothing wrong with being a Robin. I'm not saying he's not that good or whatever. What I'm saying is, I don't know if he was our number one wide receiver on the outside and we're running our offense through him and the other team is we don't have nobody else and the team's game planning against him. I don't know if he can handle that. Double teaming him and doing all that stuff. I don't know if he can handle that. On the inside, same thing. We can run the offense through him and they might be able to still take him away. I don't know. But as a Robin, if there's a Mike Evans and he's the Robin on the outside or a Robin in the inside, he can still do damage. Or if there's a Mike Evans and a Chris Godwin and he's the Robin in the inside, I think he can still do damage. The difference between Ibuka is he can play the outside just like Chris Godwin. He can play the inside just like Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan. But I believe he can be a Batman on the inside, right? Outside, I don't know if he can be a Batman. I think he could be a Robin on the outside, but I don't know if he can be I don't know if he can be a Batman on the outside. But on the inside, I think he can be a Batman on the inside as a slot wide receiver. So in other words, again, if he's the only receiver we have, just like Ahmad St. Brown for the Lions, where there's really no outside dude. You know what I'm saying? There's really no outside threat. There's no wide receiver on the outside where it's like, okay, stop him first, and then you got to worry about St. Brown. St. Brown's going to be a man in the inside no matter what, and in the outside too. He can be the man too. My point is Ibuka can be the man on the inside. Now, he might be able to be a Batman on the outside too. That's the upside part. Maybe he's a Batman on the outside too. I don't know. But they believe he can be a Batman on the inside, and that's going to be scary. So that's the difference between our wide receivers, right? They're not looking at our wide receivers like Mike is the best, Chris is the second, and then, Ibuka is the third best wide receiver and McMillan is the fourth wide receiver, even though that's how it is in the depth chart right now. But they're looking at it like we got a Mike Evans who is the best at his job. We got a Chris Godwin who's literally so good at being the Robin on the other side that he can actually be a Batman. You don't believe me? Ask Saint players how many times that Mike Evans get kicked out of a game or Mike Evans got hurt in a game, and what happens? Chris Godwin just takes over the game against the Saints. It happens a lot. Chris Godwin can definitely be a Batman. So not only do you have a Batman on one side, you have a Batman on the other outside, and now they can possibly have a Batman on the inside with Ibuka. Nasty work. Nobody in the NFL has our weapons. Nobody in the NFL has our weapons. Then you still got McMillan, who's going to give you depth, right? Whether the slot goes down or one of the outside guys goes down, boom, you insert a Robin, another Robin, boom, there's McMillan. Then on top of that, you still got for right now, you still got Trey Palmer. People sleep on Trey Palmer. Now Trey Palmer is a weapon, right? I don't see him like a well-rounded receiver, which is what we were hoping he would turn into, but it hasn't turned into that yet. What I mean by that is Trey Palmer is about speed. Whether he's on the outside or he's in the slot, you send him on the go route, he's taking the top off, period. So he's a weapon like that. So you got that. Now you got a Ted. Now we also got Ted Johnson, right? Ted Johnson. This dude is what they've been looking for. I don't know if he's going to pan out in the NFL, but he's basically a Bucky Irvin in the slot, right? He can't be a Batman, but he can be a very, very high caliber Robin. So let's say Chris Godwin isn't able to come back. Let's say Chris Godwin's whatever, and Jalen McMillan is hurt too. Throw Ibuka on the outside, because Ibuka can be a nice Robin on the outside, just like McMillan. And Tez, is it Tez or Ted? I think it's Tez. Tez can still be put in the slot, and we still have a really good Robin in the slot. We are super loaded. We are super loaded offensively. And again, we still got oh my gosh, Bucky Irvin. And I'm not talking about running the ball. I'm talking about screen passes. We still got Rachaad White. I'm not talking about running the ball. I'm talking about just passing it to him in his route running. And we still got Sean Tucker, which he might not be a problem passing the ball, but as a runner. So our wide receiving is stacked. Our running back is stacked. And our O-line is our O-line. Like we're ready for our O-line. So that's our two offensive weapons that we drafted. Once I understood that, I said, okay, literally depth is not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a problem offensively. Now, let's go to the defense, right? We draft Walker, who people are super excited about, and I am too. We draft Roberts, who people are like, oh, he's gonna take over what's his name? Logan Hall. He's gonna take over Logan Hall's spot. I thought maybe he does take over Logan Hall's spot, maybe he doesn't. First of all, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Logan Hall. That's one. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Logan Hall. So don't sleep on Logan Hall. First of all, he's doing his job. They are not displeased with Logan Hall at all. They like Logan Hall. Okay, so if you think that Logan Hall is out of here after this year, if you think this is another what was his name? Homeboy, they just went to the Bengals that we didn't sign. I want to say Troy. It's not Troy, is it? What's our defensive end that we drafted? He's not here no more. JTS. Joy Shoyinka. Joe Tryon. There you go. Joe Tryon Shoyinka. Oof. Okay. Joe, if you think it's another one of those situations, it's not. It's not at all. It's not another one of those situations at all. Yeah, they like Logan Hall. Now, again, it's not to say that Roberts can't take over Logan Hall. All right. So if he does, if he does take over his spot, that means he's really showing something. He is really showing something. I think there'll be packages where Logan Hall and Roberts will be on the field at the same. There's going to be so many crazy packages. But anyways, when I think about that, I think of what? More depth, because there's no other Logan Hall. You think we got Logan Hall, Vita Vea, and Kalijah Kancey. Those are our pass rushers. Whether you want to believe it or not, those are our pass rushers from our defensive tackles, from our inside D line, right? After that, the only one is maybe Mike Green. That's the only other one that can actually pass rush. Nobody else, and that's really stretching it. You know what I'm saying? That's being polite. But he's the only one that possesses any type of threat, pass rushing. So if Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey, or Logan Hall goes down, we have no depth at that pass rush from our D line, interior D line, when we're in a 3-4. We have no help. Now we got Roberts. Roberts is going to come in and give us really good depth, maybe even be a starter. If he becomes a starter, I ain't mad at it. Then we go to our position where we're nervous about, where we feel like we're waiting for that next step to happen, right? The defensive ends, right? The outside linebackers, pretty much. Not the defensive end, but the outside linebackers. Yaya, and we got Hassan Reddick. Now, Hassan Reddick is the key to all of it. Hassan Reddick is the reason why I believe there's nobody else in the division that has a chance of touching us. I'm gonna just be honest. But it's not just Hassan Reddick, right? It's Hassan Reddick, it's Braswell, it's Watts, it's David Walker. These are the reasons we are so stacked, and it's the main reason why I'm hyped, because what the rest of the NFL don't understand, with the rest of the South, what the rest of the South don't understand is when everybody else, like the Panthers, like the Falcons, not even the Saints, while everybody else is building a team of, I don't know, we'll see, I don't know. We have a team right now that's very dangerous, because we're at a year where players start to pop. We're at a year where players start to pop. And I think that is very dangerous for the NFC South. What do I mean by that? Well, I've always said, I don't care what position, you give every player 3 years. Period. You give every player 3 years. If they don't produce by after the third year, you can officially say they're a bust. Obviously, after the second year, you pretty much know that trajectory that they're going, but you got to give them 3 years. After 3 years, you can officially call them a bust and get them out of here. That third year should be the official year that they pop. We got a lot of players, and people don't understand. Again, when we talk about we won the division with Brady, oh, it's because of Brady. We won the division with Baker, which that was the other thing, right? It was Dave Canales being a first-time play caller. We kind of struggled a little bit because of him. Not only that, but we weren't able to do anything because we had to lose players, because we were literally paying the credit card of having Brady in that Super Bowl team. We were paying that credit card off, so we had to sacrifice that year, and we still won the division. Then last year, the whole injury situation, we had a lot of injuries, and we still won the division. And we did all that those 3 years with no arm Brady, a year where we had Baker first time and a first-time offensive coordinator who was struggling and had to pay off credit cards, and the third year with a whole bunch of injuries, and we did all that in a first-place schedule. All the other teams in the South didn't have to deal with a first-place schedule. Wasn't a first-place schedule one time. Those 3 years, there were first-place schedules that we had to win the division in, and we still did it, even with all that other stuff. And I don't think the NFC South the rest of the NFC South doesn't understand why that means something, why we're now on another level. So, and young players on that third year, a whole bunch of young players. Now we're in a year where we're waiting for those young players to pop. We had the first year of Yaya, I think it was 7 sacks or 7.5 sacks, something like that. Second year, sack numbers weren't up, but the pressures were way up. One of the best in the league when you talk about the pressure on a quarterback, right? This third year, if that man pops, which again, Maybe I think that's a 50-50. Maybe he pops, maybe he doesn't. But we're watching. If that man pops, it's going to be crazy. Talk about Kalijah Kancey. First year, was hurt and didn't really get a lot of reps, but still had like, I think 3 or 4 sacks. Second year, already had 7 or 7.5 sacks. One of the two already. And I said, I believe he can be as good as Warren Sapp. He already reached Gerald McCoy level. He already reached that level. Second year, he already reached that level. It took Gerald McCoy 3 years to reach that level. He already reached that level in year 2. Now, give Gerald McCoy some respect. He wasn't able to play with a Vita Vea. Kalijah gets to play with a Vita Vea, but nonetheless, he already reached 7 sacks his second year. If he really pops, which you can say he already popped, but I'm not going to say he popped yet because, again, I think his top performance, he can be like Warren Sapp. I truly believe he can be that dangerous, Warren Sapp level. So I'm still waiting to see him pop. So this third year, he can pop. His trajectory is not like Yaya where it's 50-50. I think it's more 70-30. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to pop. So we're waiting. We're seeing what happens there. Logan Hall. Look at his sack. That's not an easy position to get sacks, and his sack numbers are going up. He might hit another level. We don't know. Then you got Tyke Smith. We watched some highlights a little bit earlier. We got Tyke Smith. He can pop, whether it's nickel or safety. He can pop. We got Zion McCollum. His second year starting. I think it's going to be his third year in the league, or maybe the fourth year in the league, but his second year starting. I believe he already popped, but I think this year is going to be the year where he's like, yo, I got it all down. Now let's do it serious. Like I was, nervous here and there, but for the most part, he was already locking it down. Now I think he just takes over, right? Chris Braswell, we're going to see a second-year jump. They're really high on him. The one position and only position that we can worry about when it comes to depth, because I don't think we don't have to worry about depth when we talk about corner, which is why we had the draft we had. Morris, I think we're waiting for someone to go down so we can see Morrison on the outside, right? Now, obviously, it's still early. We don't know what he's going to be. He might look like trash in the preseason. We don't know. But we got high hopes for Morrison, right? We got high hopes for him. I mean, when you just watch his tape, he just looks like he's ready for the NFL, period. Like, we just looks like it. Parrish, man's a dog. We hearing already a whole bunch of picks in camp or whatever. So they want to see him. So he, at minimum, I think he's going to be, depth where if somebody goes down, okay, let's see what he got. Now he might get eaten up. Who knows? I don't know. But we feel pretty good about the depth. We will know more in preseason. But as of right now, we feel pretty good about the depth, right? But when you talk about the only position that we are worried about when it's depth, it's the inside linebacker. It's the inside linebacker, right? We got Levante. That shoe can drop, Father Time can hit him anytime. We don't know. Hopefully, it won't. I do think, I said this before, I do think we bring him back again another year after this year because I think he wants to break. Right now, he's about to tie Derrick Brooks. I think he's going to break Derrick Brooks next year. But we don't know. Who cares? We don't got to worry about that right now. But next to him is Servassier. And they're waiting for him to pop. I'm waiting for him to pop. They think he already popped. So we're waiting for that to happen and see, what they want to do. And if you're talking about depth behind him, Deion Jones and Anthony something. Can't remember who, the dude from the Dolphins. Now, I don't know much about the dude from the Dolphins, but we know about Deion Jones. Now, I personally believe Deion Jones is going to be great depth for us, and I think we might be even be able to turn them into something. You know what I'm saying? Being in Todd Bowles' system and Todd Bowles doing what he does. So I low key feel good about our depth in inside linebacker as well. Now, if both of our starters go down, then I think we might have a problem, but it won't be it won't be it won't be as definitely won't be as bad as last year for sure. Definitely won't be as bad as last year for sure. So that's good. I'm really not worried about the depth. Who's in here? Somebody got to click this link and give me what they think about this team. Because I don't want to be the only one in here talking about this team. Somebody jump in that link. But yeah, that's the thing about this draft and what we did in the free agency, and that's how I feel. What up, Pryor? That's how I feel about this team, man. And while I'm not worried about anybody else in the division, we're already a good team. We were a good team with no depth, and we were already a good team with young players trying to get a grasp of the NFL. We was already a playoff contending team. We was already, beating Super Bowl contenders. We were already, beating other playoff teams. We were already doing that while we didn't have depth, while we were struggling with injuries, and while we were trying to get young players to learn the game and be professionals and get and be masters of their craft. Now we're at a point where some of these youngsters are going to pop. We expect some of these youngsters to now be a master at their craft. We expect some of these youngsters to be ready to go and be starters if they need to be starters. If we're talking about the depth, right? We got good depth now, right? Before, our depth was, especially in the DB room, Dennis I think is definitely the man, Stefan. Click on the link and come in here and give me your opinion, what you think. But what was I gonna say? Last year our depth was Bryce Hall. Completely forgot about Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall, that was supposed to be the depth piece. That was supposed to be the emergency, break the glass. He'll come in and he can be a starter. He's a legit starter. He's a legit backup that can start for you if we need that. He got hurt week 2, I think it was. He got season injury week 2, I think it was, week 1 or week 2, very early in the season. Our depth was gone. After that was a whole bunch of project players that we like, and we're trying to develop them into being a good enough starter. This year we went away with that. We said we ain't got time for that. We don't need that right now. We're going on a run. We're going on a run right now. They threw all that away. They drafted some very high talent players in the draft, and we're ready now. Right now, our window, I feel like, officially started. I felt like we had a window last year, but it was very, very small because of the injuries that happened. And it was more like we need to be a little bit lucky for us to have a real window. Now we got the depth where we got a window. It's going to be hard for the NFL to close this window. We would really have to be beat up. It would really have to be like everybody in the NFL understands, like, oh no, but they're really injured. Like, for reals, they're injured bad. It would really have to be bad for us not to be able to fight in the playoffs this year. So there's only really one thing that I can think of that can slow us down. Well, technically 2. I'll say 2. There's 2 things that can slow us down. One, even though I said what I said about our wide receiving core, I'm still going to say this for a few reasons. Before Dennis got hurt, he was good. He got to sit and watch. He will be the starter next to David. Yeah, I know that. Jump in here. Click. You guys see the link, right? To jump in here, right? Jump in here and give me your guys' opinions of what you guys think. Someone's at the door. Sorry. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So there's only two things that I'm worried about this season. One of them I kind of explained about depth, but I'm still gonna talk about it because this is what I believe, and that is if Mike Evans gets hurt. Now, I know we talked about the depth. I know we talked about how we're stacked wide receivers, but if Mike Evans goes down, I still don't know how Baker will play. Everybody loves Baker. I think Baker has played great. I can't take nothing away. I think Baker has played great, but he's still shown me some things that scare me. And it's when Mike Evans is not there, he struggles to throw to anybody else. And that's the truth. Now, some people might sit there and say, oh, well, before Chris Godwin got hurt, he was the leading receiver in receptions and yards. How could Baker have a problem throwing to Chris Godwin when he has the leading receptions and yards, when he's leading the league in receptions and yards? Not all. Most of the time, it was Baker creating space, creating some time in the pocket. And after creating space in the pocket or creating time in the pocket, just realizing and knowing Chris Godwin's probably going to be open, finding Chris Godwin and throwing him the ball. The problem that Baker has with Chris Godwin is if Mike Evans goes down and Chris is the guy, when Baker says hike, drop three-step drop, 1, 2, 3, throw the ball on stride to Chris Godwin, that's where he has the problem. That's where the problem lies. He can't really be consistently effective like that. He can't really be consistently. Don't get me wrong, Chris is open, but you got to be very accurate. You got to be on time. Your timing has to be right. The chemistry got to be beautiful. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know why the chemistry is not like that, or maybe just Baker's just not that accurate, which is what I believe. But that's where he struggles to turn around, hit Chris on stride with the corner route, with the out route, with the in route. He can do it sometimes, but most of the time he struggles with it. So most of the time when he's hitting Chris Godwin, it's like a rollout. It's like a broken play whereas Chris did a route, now he stops, and now Chris is running the other way, and then they get him. That's most of the time that Chris does. So if Mike Evans goes down and Chris is the guy, our offense might still struggle. Now, I do believe it won't be as bad as when Chris and Mike Evans was down, because I do think we have more weapons like McMillan and Ibuka to take over. And I do think like we will feel more comfortable running the ball, right? When like we did last year when we had to rely on that. I do think we'll feel a little bit better with having those two weapons and being able to run the ball instead of just basically having Cade Otton and being able to run the ball. That's all we were able to do. So I do think that'll be better, but it would be not smart of me to not point that out and say that might slow us down. That might slow us down. If that something was to happen to Mike Evans, that might slow our offense down. The number one thing I should say, that I am worried about that could not only slow us down, but derail the season. As much as it hasn't before, another first-time play caller in Grizzard, I think it is his name, our offensive coordinator. So he's been with us for a couple years. People say this guy's a wizard. He's smart, genius, all that stuff. Hearing nothing but great things about him. But he is a first-time play caller. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get from him. I do think we'll be able to tell a little something in preseason, so that's good. We'll get to see him in preseason, calling plays and all that stuff. Tall Bows have done a good job with a lot of these first-time play callers. I mean, you don't get no greener than Dave Canellis. So we were able to survive with Dave Canellis. We'll see what we can do with him. But, I mean, again, it'll be very dumb of us if we just go in blind thinking, oh, it's going to be fine. And we got to see. It might completely just be fine. I mean, he could be the best play caller yet. You never know. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying we have no idea what's going to happen with that. We don't know how that's going to, does he know? I'll say the same things I said when we got Dave Canellis. Now, I will say this. Liam Cohen, I felt a little bit more comfortable because I knew Liam Cohen has called plays in college, and I do believe he called a little bit here and there in the NFL. He wasn't a play caller, but there was times where he called a play, you know what I'm saying? But I did feel a little bit better with Liam Cohen. I was nervous about Dave Canellis. I'm nervous about Grizzard or whatever his name is. But I'll say the same things, the questions that I had with Dave Canellis. How does he play call? Can he read the game? Does he have a good grasp of how the game is going? Is he able to what do you call it? Make changes during the game? Is he able to trust people that are saying, oh, they're in this formation, know what to call, have plays ready, call the play on time, game plan, game adjustments, game day adjustments, you know what I'm saying? All those things are things we don't know. We got to find out about him. So it is what it is, but that's what it is. Again, man, I'm trying to have people come up on here and click on the link and trying to get, you don't even have to be a back and forth or anything like that. Just come in here and just come in here and give your opinion. But it is what it is. Let me see if anybody's live right now so we can laugh at some people. Because again, man, some of these things that I've been hearing when it comes to people talking football is just crazy talk. Let's see. We got Saint broadcasters talking about NBA. They are just, man. Falcon fans worried about Kyle Pitts. I already said it. If I'm to be honest, man, get what you can get from Kyle Pitts. I already think that they've seen the best of Kyle Pitts, bro. I mean, maybe he resurrects his career and gets better, but as of right now, Kyle Pitts to me is a bust. I mean, you get him top 8 in the draft to put the numbers that he's putting up? Nah, bro. Nah, you trade him and you get something for him. But that's what that's up to them. I don't know if they're going to trade him or not. You got Panther YouTubers talking about the Panthers wide receivers are elite. Man, it's crazy talk. Just crazy talk, bro. I don't know, man. Crazy talk. Anyways, I had another. Let's see. I had another Panthers channel that I really liked, and it seems like I haven't seen them since. Like I seen them once and I haven't seen them since. I don't know where they're at. Oh, it's not them. Oh no, this is them, I think. Have they not did a live in a while or what? Yeah, so they haven't. Wow, so they haven't went live since. Because I've been waiting for them to go live, but okay. Yeah, man. So there it is, man. I don't know how long I've been. Oh, it's been an hour. Man, it's been a while. It's been a while because it's only been an hour, and that felt like it was a long time. Usually, when I be talking, it be flying by. The stuff be flying by. So, to be honest, I was kind of hoping to be longer because I was hoping for some people to jump in here, but for some reason, I have a hard time getting people to joining the live stream. I was hoping to get some Panthers in here. I was hoping to get some Falcons in here. Yeah, I was hoping to get some Buck fans in here, man. Talk about what we think about the team. But guess not. You guys just want to stay in the chat. You guys just want to stay in the chat. Nobody wants to click that link. Let me make sure that link is, yeah, it's there. Yeah, so I guess we'll end it. I have my family coming in here anyways. So, man, I really wanted a bigger discussion because I finally got out of work early where I have a lot of free time to do it. Usually I don't. Usually I gotta cook and do everything I gotta do, eat, and then just go to bed. But I finally got some free time, and it looks like everyone's just chilling. So, I do miss going live. I do miss going live. It does feel good to be live again. You know what I'm saying? So that is good. It does feel good to be live again. It does feel good to be live again. I wish there was like other people live so we can see the horrendous talk. Of but ain't nobody live right now. Oh man.
You know Harbor Freight for affordability, but durability goes right along with it. You see, we test.
But during these interviews and these conversations,
Pewter
to get
Report
Dave Canales, to get Leo
live.
Jordan, and maybe Josh Grisard was a little easier because you got to see him in action.
And
for a year as part of Liam's
they
staff.
have Todd Bowles
you
as a
look
special
for
guest.
in offensive coordinator
And
hires?
see-
is there one common trait that is
This
singular
is
that you look for
what I don't
regardless
like.
of who it's been? They all have similar but yet different approaches.
This is what I don't like about. I won't say Pewter. I won't single them out. But this is what I don't like about certain content creators, right? You sit there and bash, and there is a difference between criticizing and bashing. There is a difference between criticizing and, hey, this is my opinion, and bashing. But you sit there and you bash a player, you bash a coach, and then you want them to sit down and have an interview with you.
I get to know you. I want to see if you're a fit for this team and this staff because we have a very unique staff.
He's talking about the offensive coordinator right
now. I don't care how good a coach you are.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be coming in this building. But those guys, each individually, they were smart enough to know a lot of things and smart enough to know they didn't know everything. And they knew who they had to rely on and lean on when they didn't know those things. And that's probably one of the biggest things that really attracted me towards those guys. I thought Dave was very cerebral. very knowledgeable, very calm under pressure. And I thought he could scheme some things in the red zone as well as on third down. And he could not panic when he managed the game. And then I thought Liam came and we already had Baker for a year. And he was a great fit because he was running similar type of things in the offense, but a little more bells and whistles, so to speak, than Dave had. And Liam was very good and very knowledgeable in the run game, the pass game, as far as setting people up, understanding what he had to do to get the guys where he needed to get them. So I thought that was outstanding at the time. And he could tell me these things in the meeting. And I had seen him coach twice when my son was at Georgia. He was at Kentucky. I happened to be at both of those ball games. So I got to see him for 2 years and kind of stumbled onto him. And you know, I like everybody. I like Jason to see everybody just to get a second opinion there and there. And he can sit down with people and we can put our heads together. And what do you think? And what do you think? And I said, well, this is how he did in the meetings and everything else. So we try to put him in front of a lot of people to get a good feel. I mean, I'll make the decision, but I like to see what kind of person you are. I've had guys that come in that know it inside out and sound like quality control guys because they watch twice as much film. And you have to be able to decipher that. There's a big difference between knowing and teaching. That's what you got to try to decide to decipher. And my biggest thing is, and my biggest strength is, I want people smarter than me at their positions doing, and my job is to bring all those people together and get them on one page. I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but I got to be smart enough to know that these guys need to work together. And we try to do that, and we've done a good job at that over the past couple of years.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the defensive side of the ball. Now we veered the conversation to the offense a little bit.
Let's get
Go
back
back
to
to the defense. Yeah.
Amen, baby. Thank you.
So we talked to Kalijah Kancey a couple
It
weeks ago,
just
and he had said,
irks
you know,
me,
if you're
man.
Scott
It just
who asked him if you're healthy
it
for
just
an
irks
entire
me
season,
when
what is
they're still
limit for
talking.
you?
They're still
Does
going.
the limit exists?
They're
And
talking about
Kalijah
Kalijah
said that he
Kancey right
believes
now.
he can lead the league in sacks if he's healthy for the full year. That number, league leading number, going back, 2020 or so, it's been 18
Like I
and a
said,
half.
man,
Do you think he can
I'm
reach
all
that goal?
cool with criticizing. I criticize a
I
lot,
think he can
but
get close. I think he
to
can get
bash,
awfully close. If he's
call for
healthy
this
for
man's
17
job,
games, the way he's
saying,
learned the game,
lying on this
Kalijah's
man
not
when
just a
people talk
quick player,
about,
he's a very smart
you
player,
know,
and he's very
he
strong. He understands
mismanages
how
the
people
game
are
and he
going
has
to attack
problems
him.
with this and
He
that. It's like,
understands what
we've
he
never
can
lost
attack
a
and when to
game.
attack
Like,
it. Being in the
not
team now
that
for 2
he's
years, he has a
perfect
better
at it.
grasp of everything,
You know what I'm saying? He's
and he
not the most
plays.
perfect
He
guy when it
does
calls
some great
with
things,
us
and a
about
lot
that,
of
but
times the ball is
we've
out.
never lost a
So
game
if
because
the
of that.
chips
You
fall
know what I'm
right,
saying?
yes, I
Like,
think he can get
why
there.
are we crying about something that's never
When
cost us a
you
game?
look at the
So
outside linebacker room,
I don't know.
that's
But
kind of
now,
the room
you
where
know,
you want
because they
your
wanted
leading
Liam Cohen
sacker to come
and they
from.
were crying
And
about
and it
Liam Cohen
didn't
being the
happen
head
last year.
coach, and then
Yaya
he
had
made them
7.5
look
during his
bad
rookie
because he
season,
snaked us.
but you like those
Now all of a
double-digit
sudden
sack
they're on
guys,
Todd
the
Bowles' nuts.
JPPs,
You
the
know what I'm
Shaq
saying?
Barretts,
All of a
where you win
sudden it's
Super
oh,
Bowls.
Todd Bowles is
When
what
that
we love,
seems
and
to
da da da
happen,
da. He's
your outside
great.
linebacker
He's
room,
the way you need to be, and
does
da da da
Yaya
da. And it's
Diaby
like,
have the potential to be a double-digit sacker?
which I'm
And
glad
do
for
you
Bowles
see
that
Hassan
they
Reddick
gotta
and
finally
Yaya
back
potentially
off of him and
becoming
love
that
him as a head
bookend
coach, but you already
presence
know
for
during the
you
season they're
that
just gonna get right
JPP
back
and Shaq
onto it.
Barrett
They're
was?
gonna get right back onto
I
hating
think Yaya
again
has
in the middle of the
potential
season.
to
Oh,
be an
Bowles needs to do
outstanding
this.
linebacker and definitely a double-digit sack guy. I think he's learned a lot more this spring than he's learned since he's been here of how to use his tools and when to use his tools. And we're trying to put him in position to get after the quarterback a lot more. With Reddick coming in, I'm sure he's going to learn a lot of things from Reddick right there. But we expect Braswell to take a leap this year. Nelly's been very consistent since he's been here, and us drafting David Walker, we think we got some hungry guys over there with the young guys coming up. So I expect Yaya to be one of the best in the league this year, and he has the ability to do that.
You mentioned David Walker, and I know it's shorts and t-shirts, and he has not even probably met Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke yet. Those guys are kind of been working off on.
They're gonna talk about David Walker.
He looks pretty special. I mean, when you look at the tape and just how he moves in the football field, do you kind of get a sense of that? I know Larry Foote was talking about it.
Keep turning it off, but you can hear it though. I believe you can still
He
hear
plays
it.
with his hair on fire. I got him in pads again. I've seen the Senior Bowls, and I've watched a lot of tapes, and we know he's tough and he can play. And he's got a dog-like mentality. We like that about him. Just got to get him in pads, make sure he's doing the right thing. But he's one of those guys that you're pretty comfortable with knowing it's going to translate over.
On the topic of mentality, I'm glad you mentioned that because you mentioned two things at the annual meeting when we talked to you. It was before the draft and all that. Two things that you'd like to see your team improve on this season. One of which was the defense developing a killer instinct. The other being how can we avoid these, 4 or 5 game losing streaks that we've had in the middle of the season. Have you seen any progress? I know it's been just a few weeks.
So that's it, man. We're going to call it. No one wants to jump in here and give their opinions. I've had the link up for a minute, for an hour to be specific. No one wants to jump in here and give their opinions about the team. Again, I'm not trying to debate anybody or anything like that. No one has to be scared to get in here. Just come in here and give your opinions on the team, your opinions on the South, whatever it is that you wanted to do. But no one wants to seem to come in here. So I guess I'll just call it. Kings of the South is back. Let's talk. Title of the live stream. Listen, I'm not gonna make any promises. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh, I did want to make a stream like, oh, I'm back. I'm gonna regulate because the YouTube needs to be regulated, right? These Panther podcasters and Saint podcasters and Falcon podcasters or YouTubers, whatever you want to call them. They need to get put back on a leash. Again, there's no other buck channel now that I know of. At least let me know so I could join. But there's no other buck channels out here that are, having buck meetings with other Buccaneer fans. So nobody putting them in their place. You know what I'm saying? Putting these other people in the South in their place. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I do need to come back. But, I got a lot going on in my life. And I don't have a lot of time, but I will say I was having fun doing this again. And maybe I'll try to make some more time if I got some to come on here live. But if I do that, y'all gotta, again, if your notification bell isn't on, you're not gonna get notified. So put that notification bell on, man. Hit the like button. Do I even have anybody hit the like button? Let me see something. Anybody hit that like button? Nobody has hit the like button. See what I'm saying? Y'all got to do your part. You guys got to do your part so we can get this back on its feet. So hit the like button, and all that good stuff. And like I said, man, we'll try to see if we can get it back on its feet again. This channel back on its feet again, and see if we can get some more people to get in here in the room instead of just typing on the comment section, and get some football talk going, man. You know what I'm saying? I have my opinions. That doesn't mean I'm 100% right, even though I know I always think I am, but I am very open to hearing other people's opinions, man. I'm open to hear other people's opinions. I'm not here to regulate and act like my opinion is the only one that matters. So jump in here, give your opinions, and we'll start trying to make something happen, man. We'll like I said, we'll try to get this channel to start picking up again. Let me check one more time to see if there's anybody else live that we can spy on real quick. See if there's anything. No, nobody. All right. Well, hopefully next time I can show you guys a live stream of somebody talking ridiculousness, and we'll go from there. Shaman Real Talk Perez here on the Pewter and Red podcast. I will see you guys next time I see you.